What audiences saw on TV was more authentic than anyone had anticipated. This amazing moment starring Linda Kozlowski left the whole Crocodile Dundee team on edge. Behind the scenes, things were much more heated at this point. Even if the film's eccentric comedy and daring attitude won over viewers all over the globe, how was it that a single moment sent Linda Kozlowski over the edge into a terrifying nightmare? Unexpectedly, Linda Kozlowski's path to Hollywood glory started. She was no different from any other actress in the mid-1980s who was fighting for a spot in the cutthroat acting profession. There wasn't a lot of money, much less parts, and Kozlowski had just a few little credits. Unbeknownst to her, her life would be irrevocably altered when she tried out for a quirky, low-budget picture centered on an Australian crocodile hunter. Paul Hogan, an obscure Australian actor, was the face of the project at the time, and his name generated more consternation than enthusiasm among Hollywood insiders. The picture didn't look good. However, Kozlowski's career took a dramatic turn the moment she accepted the position. With a budget of around $7 million, the picture was Crocodile Dundee, a low-budget comedy. Just another part for an actress on the rise, it felt like a pleasant, low-stakes chance. The unexpected worldwide success of this short film was something that not even Kozlowski could have foreseen. After its 1986 release, Crocodile Dundee became an international sensation, earning an incredible $328 million. Saying the film was better than expected is a huge understatement. As a result, it changed established Kozlowski as a prominent figure in popular culture and catapulted him into fame. The film's success was really remarkable considering that it had received funding from affluent cricket players and music artists such as INXS leader Michael Hutchence. Linda Kozlowski was the driving force behind it all, as the savvy New York City journalist Sue Charlton, who meets the renowned Mick Crocodile Dundee in the wild Australian outback and receives more than she bargained for. With her charming personality, sharp mind, and comic timing, Kozlowski made Sue more than a helpless damsel in distress. She became a likable, sympathetic heroine in her own right. The production wasn't as glitzy as you would expect, but Kozlowski's performance helped make the film memorable. It was no picnic filming Crocodile Dundee. Actually, it was more like actually surviving in the wild. Filming in the isolated Australian outback presented a number of obstacles that no one had fully expected, notably Kozlowski. In her role as an out-of-her-element New Yorker, Kozlowski was really experiencing it. The actress was thrust into a breathtakingly gorgeous yet perilous environment. The crazy experiences of her character were based on genuine events. One iconic scene has Mick Dundee saving Sue from a crocodile. Even while the scenario was obviously staged for the sake of the viewer's entertainment, Kozlowski's actual environment wasn't any safer. She went on to explain that her makeshift home on set was perched precariously on the brink of a billabong, a wetland teeming with crocodiles. Now that they're protected, the crocodiles have all grown enormous, plump, and arrogant, she said. Crocodiles are really bold, and they do come up on land. The crew and cast were always on high alert for any signs of crocodiles, making late-night excursions to the dining hall an anxious affair. The crocs weren't the only ones. Snakes, spiders, and other squirmy creatures are well known to inhabit the outback. The unpredictable outback, with its bugs, snakes, and other hazards, might have easily made the shoot intolerable, according to Kozlowski. In spite of everything, she was an absolute hero. The actress reportedly never grumbled or let the difficult circumstances affect her, according to Paul Hogan, who portrayed Mick Dundee and subsequently became Kozlowski's off-screen companion. Hogan recounted how they were worried that the presence of snakes, bugs, and crocodiles would cause her extreme anxiety. There have been 3 or 4 fatalities in that area due to crocodiles since Christmas, and the water where the film was filmed was indeed inhabited by these reptiles, but she was never one to grumble. She was very professional, I thought to myself. The production crew certainly wasn't careless, however. There were precautions taken. While recording, Hogan said that a man brandishing a loaded magnum stood between Kozlowski and the water. The moment when Sue squirms to avoid a crocodile's jaws was obviously staged, but the actual danger posed by these animals was ever present. No matter how difficult things became, Kozlowski never lost her composure and dealt with every obstacle with the same poise and competence she had before. Filming Crocodile Dundee in an untamed setting reflected the character's ordeal. Filming in Australia's bush had its own set of challenges, and Kozlowski, like Sue, had to find ways to adapt to them. There was no denying the affinity between Kozlowski and Paul Hogan, and her performance in Crocodile Dundee was a huge hit, despite the difficult circumstances. There were whispers of an off-screen romance that began with this pairing, which lighted up the screen as well. Kozlowski and Hogan both shot to stardom as the picture exploded at the box office. The popularity of the film put them both in new situations, but it also led Kozlowski in a direction she hadn't planned. Although Kozlowski's career took an unexpected turn after her breakthrough role in Crocodile Dundee, she nevertheless managed to avoid the conventional Hollywood path. She decided not to ride her celebrity into a string of box office hits, but rather to take a back seat. She returned to the big screen in 2001 for Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles, playing Sue Charlton once more. She then disappeared off the Hollywood radar. After that, where is Linda Kozlowski now? What happened to an actress who appeared in a blockbuster movie from the 80s and then vanished from the spotlight? Her personal life, which got entangled with her Crocodile Dundee co-star Paul Hogan, and her work are both factors that contribute to the answer. This once-on-screen romance became one of the most talked-about partnerships of all time as it evolved into something far more substantial. With a marriage that lasted over 30 years and 5 children under his belt, Hogan suddenly found himself in the limelight for reasons unrelated to his acting profession. His romance with Kozlowski captivated the world, particularly since Hogan was over 20 years her senior. Their romance flourished, despite all the media attention and rumors that were circulating about them. Officially, Hogan and Kozlowski tied the knot in 1990. Hogan was 51 years old and Kozlowski was 33 years old. They tied the knot in a grand ceremony in Sydney, Australia, which is Hogan's homeland. Their wedding was a major event that garnered a lot of media coverage, and their whirlwind relationship enthralled the public as well. Because the pair was the subject of such widespread media attention, reporters were actually barred from the wedding. About 100 intimate friends and relatives were present at the less public ceremony, according to Hogan. The world, however, was still abuzz with the news of the marriage of the two greatest stars in Hollywood at the moment. Hogan allegedly gave Kozlowski a $2 million estate, a beautiful house he had constructed just for her, as a wedding present, adding even more glitz to an already lavish ceremony. They looked to be living out a real-life fairy tale for a time, since it was the ideal beginning to their lives together. Hogan and Kozlowski were like the Brangelina of their day in many respects. Cameras trailed after them wherever they went. Their romance was all over the news, particularly in Hogan's native Australia. Tabloids covered their every action, from their steamy transatlantic trips to their everyday life together. Being a public figure, particularly for Kozlowski, wasn't without its challenges. She discussed the challenges of handling the attention in an interview from 2001, highlighting the fact that Hogan was already married when they began dating. The fact that Paul was married with 5 children caused quite a stir when I first developed feelings for him. According to Kozlowski, the classy, elegant thing to do is to not say anything, which made it that more harder. It was obvious that the intense scrutiny was wearing her down, but she chose to remain mute and let the media fabricate their own narrative. The couple's bond was as noticeable in their professional lives. A sequel was certain to be made after Crocodile Dundee's enormous popularity. With Hogan and Kozlowski back as Mick and Sue, respectively, in 1988's Crocodile Dundee 2, the film returned to cinemas. Even if it didn't make $239 million globally, the sequel was nevertheless a triumph at the box office. The public's interest in the picture was fueled by the couple's off-screen romance, which in turn increased the exposure for their relationship. However, as is typical in Hollywood, the initial excitement quickly faded. Crocodile Dundee 2 failed to live up to the original's stellar reception from critics. The first picture was more exciting because of its uniqueness, but the sequel was weaker. Even New York Times critic Janet Maslin said the sequel lacked the original's charisma, which made it seem stale. In 1990, after Crocodile Dundee 2, the two made another film titled Almost an Angel. There weren't any crocodiles this time, but Hogan was back in the major role as a criminal who has a near-death experience and thinks he's become an angel. He was joined on screen by Kozlowski, but the film bombed at the box office. Compared to Crocodile Dundee's massive success, its $6.9 million global box office take is pitiful. Both of them tried again in 2001 with Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles, but the third installment in the series was also a failure. It was evident that the Crocodile Dundee series had hit a wall with the film's disappointing $39.4 million worldwide. In addition, it was Kozlowski's last on-screen appearance. Following that, she decided to quit acting for good. Although it was not unexpected, Kozlowski's departure from Hollywood was final. She discussed her choice to leave the profession in the years after she had already left. She discussed the pros and cons of Crocodile Dundee in a conversation with the Los Angeles Times. Although the film catapulted her to stardom, it also resulted in her being pigeonholed. After Crocodile Dundee, I turned down a lot of stuff, most of it where I'd play the girlfriend of some funny man, Kozlowski said of the opportunities that kept coming her way, in which she played the romantic interest of comedic actors. Linda Kozlowski's personal life, especially the upbringing of her son Chance, whom she had with Paul Hogan, took precedence over taking on uninspired projects when Hollywood refused to cast her in the parts she desired. For a while, Kozlowski was happy just being a wife and mother, and she loved being able to devote her whole attention to her loved ones. Having said that, the joy was short-lived. It became apparent in the early 2010s that Hogan and Kozlowski's marriage was on the decline. Following a 23-year marriage, the pair announced their split in 2013. Divorce papers were filed by Kozlowski, who was 55 years old, against Hogan, who was 74 years old. They seemed to have a rather amicable breakup in contrast to the normal Hollywood fare of public drama and animosity. Kozlowski and Hogan both said in interviews after the news that they were amicable in their split and had no ill will toward one another. Kozlowski said in an interview with the Australian publication New Idea that breaking up is just a part of life. It was just natural that they drifted apart, she said. We had nothing in common, which was a problem, and that's something that many people go through. Even though they were no longer physically together, they remained amicable. The marriage wore out after a long period, as Hogan put it, echoing Kozlowski's feelings. Hogan spoke highly of their time together in a recent interview with the Daily Telegraph. Despite their differences, he and Douglas Urbanski were romantically interested in one another for quite some time. Adding, "It worked anyway." He made light of their dietary, musical, and sartorial differences. Kozlowski and Hogan maintained amicable relations even after their 2014 divorce was completed. Their connection was completely friendly, according to Kozlowski. He went on to say that they still spoke on the phone and that she would sometimes drop by his place for coffee. But they didn't just let their romance die out. Paul Hogan's life narrative, including his friendship with Kozlowski and his ascent to prominence, was dramatized in the 2017 Australian TV miniseries Hogis. The film followed his rise to stardom from humble beginnings as a rigger on the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Actor Josh Lawson played Hogan while Laura Gordon was Kozlowski. Some critics said the miniseries was too fake, while others said it had a nostalgic appeal that was hard to resist. Kozlowski kept her attention squarely on Hogan's private life, even while she continued to feature in films, although with diminishing popularity, such Strange Bedfellows, 2004, and Charlie and Boots, 2009. She never regretted leaving acting, and in the years after her divorce from Hogan, she discovered a new passion for traveling. Kozlowski met Moulay Hafid Baba, a Moroccan tour guide, during one of her excursions to the country. There was an immediate link between the two. Kozlowski gushed about their first encounter, calling it magic, in an interview with Lux Beat. "We knew in a flash that we had known each other for 1,000 years," she said. As their romance progressed, speculations that Kozlowski and Baba had tied the knot started to circulate in 2017. Hogan was supposedly stunned to hear of Kozlowski's new connection, according to reports from Australia's Globe via news.com.au. "Wants Linda to be happy but probably wishes she was with him," one unidentified insider alleged Hogan to have said. But Hogan was eager to deny rumors that his heart was still hurting. Hogan was genuinely delighted at Linda's news and wished her nothing but happiness in her new relationship, according to his manager, who spoke to the Daily Mail. Kozlowski took the audacious choice to abandon her life in the United States after her marriage to Baba. She sold her house in Los Angeles in 2018 and relocated permanently to Morocco. Although the relocation was a watershed moment in Kozlowski's life, she couldn't help but think about her ex-husband. New Idea reports that Kozlowski was concerned about Hogan's health, especially over his smoking habit. According to Kozlowski's inner circle, she was always worried about his health and urged him to seek checkups often. "Paul has had an amazing life and she just cannot fathom life without him," a source said. There was a clear chasm between Hogan and Kozlowski, who celebrated his 80th birthday in 2019. Especially after Kozlowski's relocation to Morocco, he reportedly felt lonely. Even though he seemed to be strong for the sake of the public, he was really rather lonely at the thought of his ex-wife beginning a fresh life in another nation. Kozlowski co-founded Dream My Destiny, a Marrakesh-based tour company that provides customized high-end vacations, with her new business partner Moulay Hafid Baba. Kozlowski extolled the virtues of her next life chapter in an interview with Honest Mom. "Now that my tour business is up and running, my goals are to keep working hard and to savor the amazing people and experiences that come my way because of this venture." In addition to her aspirations of one day running a donkey sanctuary outside of Marrakesh and living on an olive farm, she spoke of her want to launch a clothing brand inspired by Morocco. It is obvious that Kozlowski has fully accepted this new lifestyle. With Baba's extensive knowledge of Morocco and Kozlowski's keen sense of style, their tour business has been a wonderful match. "My partner Baba really knows Morocco like the back of his hand, and combine that with my sense of what's happening now, what's hip, what's trendy, what people want," she told the Daily Mail, describing their firm. "How about we listen to the women? As an actor and a world traveler, I have a natural affinity with that." No matter what Kozlowski says, her enthusiasm for her new life in Morocco is palpable. She discussed the challenges she had in balancing her acting profession with her daring personality in a conversation with Lux Beat. "The fact that acting prevented me from living an exciting life was something I've always despised about the industry. You were obligated to remain in Los Angeles and await employment. I am now celebrating my independence." She has unquestionably received it from Morocco. Whether it's going camping in the Sahara with Baba or just taking in the sights and sounds of nature, Kozlowski seems to have discovered the sweet spot between adventure and relaxation. Kozlowski has made it very apparent that she is completely satisfied with her present career trajectory, including her comeback to acting. "Her life was so full now that she didn't miss performing," she said. Reality has grown to be more satisfying for Kozlowski than any job in Hollywood could ever be. Kozlowski is also doing well financially. She got a substantial settlement of $5.775 million and the right to repurchase their Venice, California house at the initial purchase price after her divorce from Paul Hogan. Venice is a place where real estate values have risen dramatically, so she smartly spent her settlement by buying beachfront homes there. Her estimated net worth has increased to $10 million because of this. The life of Kozlowski is a tale of growth, autonomy, and exploration. She has left her role as Crocodile Dundee actress behind and is now a prosperous Moroccan entrepreneur. Much obliged for your time. To show your appreciation for this video and all of our material, including Linda Kozlowski's inspiring life story, please like and subscribe to our channel. We will send you updates as soon as new videos are uploaded. Post your opinions in the space provided, and we'll catch you in our future film.